And now it's time for another edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. With your host, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice. This is the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity, and welcome one and all to episode 305, the post-NFL Draft 2015 edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam, the show made up of Seahawk fans from around the world just like you, talking about your Seattle Seahawks. Over the next few moments we share together, we hope you are entertained and enlightened as we discuss your NFC champion, Seattle Seahawks. So sit back, relax, grab a desired beverage or sin of your choice, and remember, we try to give you the best value for your pick. As is the usual with every show, we are not alone. No, I'm joined like I am every episode by the 12th Man Fan Jam Posse, a ragtag group of diehard Seahawk fans from around the world. First, my partner in crime, the yin to my yang. He has a lot of upside from merry old England, Matt. Hi, Matt.
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Matt. How are you?
Well, I bring good news and bad, really.
Oh, do tell. What's the good news?
Well, the good news is I've made it to the show on time before we've started, so
Yay.
I'm on time. I'm on schedule.
Yay! What's the bad news?
Shouldn't that be schedule?
Schedule because we pronounce the C. Because that's how English works. So tough. I've been up 48 hours, which makes me cranky, which is angry. If you're not from Suffolk, and I'm having trouble keeping a single continuous thought going. Oh, squirrel!
So pretty much like normal then.
It's exactly like normal, Will. Exactly like normal.
Oh dear. Well, we'll try to keep you awake, Matt, as long as we can during the show here.
Yes.
Like we'll try to keep everybody else awake. We also have some other people here, also from the state of Washington, our own newshound. His 12th Man editorials can be found on SeahawksSow.com website. He's the best player available on our board. You know him as Shadowhawk. We know him as Will. Hi, Will.
Well, actually, I dropped a bit due to off-field concerns, but I appreciate the team from picking me.
Well, you know, we talked to your prosecutor, and you seem to not be charged with anything, so we're going to go with it. Wow. And from the state of California,
Yeah. It's very early. It's very early in the show to go.
Early in the show to go dark, but we just did. From the state of California, our own man behind enemy lines, just burning Kaepernick jerseys away from the 49er headquarters. He fills our position of need. He is Statsman Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hey, guys. Out here where I'm at, they're still celebrating the draft choice of a punter in the 5th round. So they have that going for them.
Oh, gotta love San Francisco.
Oh, yay, a punter. We got all these needs. Let's get a punter.
What a screwed up little organization that is.
Oh, it is. Woo. But guess what? We have more.
Ooh.
In the guest chair this evening, in this episode also, currently residing in the state of Indiana, a 2015 Seahawk nominee for the Pro Football Ultimate Fan Association, or the PFUFA. We know him as Bob. You know him as Predatorhawk. Hi, Predatorhawk. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey guys, how you doing? Glad to be here today.
Thanks for joining us. We're gonna talk to you a little bit more in depth in the second quarter, but I'm glad you could make it on the show. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. It's very exciting to be here. Thanks.
We're excited to have you. We're excited to have everybody, and we have all the intros done, so we're excited to get to it. For those who have listened before, thank you for joining us again, and for those who are listening for the first time, don't worry. We promise we'll be gentle, but be careful. The clock is ticking. The shows run just like a real NFL football game. We have 4 quarters and even a halftime. In quarter 1, we're going to go over the news. Of course, our Shadowhawk will catch us up on the news. Between quarters 1 and 2, I have to read a rant written for me by Will because of a mock draft from the last episode challenge, and he won, so he gets to write the rant for me. I'll be doing that live. In quarter 2, we're going to learn more about Predatorhawk. We're going to interview Bob VanDenburgh, Predatorhawk, a little bit more, get to know who he is. At halftime, another rousing rendition of the 12th Man Fan Jam Halftime Trivia, the Seahawk-based trivia game that you, the listener and viewer, can play along with as well. And Matt has to see if he could defend his title from last show. Matt, how you feeling about that?
I'm a little bit tired. I don't know whether I've got the energy within me to defend it. We'll give it my best.
Push through it, Matt. Push through it.
Excuses already. Well, you can always deflate the questions.
I'm going to be honest. If I push any harder, I'm going to crap myself. I'm going to.
Oh, let's not do that. Or break a chair, which we won't go into that. Matt and chairs. I swear I'm going to buy him a new chair someday. Okay, quarter 3, we're going to interview Bob more. Bob went to the draft, the 3-day draft event in Chicago. We're going to ask him what that was like, the experience. And then after a 60-second rant by Matt, if he's not sleeping, in quarter 4, we'll have the Seahawk draft class of 2015, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Before we start, we'd like to remind you, like, share, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Contact us on this thread or the comment section of this video. For feedback, email us, 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, Seahawk Positivity. And please join our Facebook group, 12th Man Fan Jam Show. We have lots of goodies there. Come on, join the fun. Before we start the show, I'd like to give a couple quick shout-outs.
Hey, can I do a shout-out? Shout-out.
Some quick shout-outs. First off, to friend of the show, and he's been on a couple times, Mike Pascal. And if you know Game Buzz Comics, that's Mike. He writes Game Buzz Comics. He is an incredible artist, and he had something special happen to him this week. If you're familiar with the TV show Big Bang Theory, one of his artworks, along with a couple other guys that he works with, was actually in the comic book store hanging up, and you could see it on the show. Pretty amazing stuff.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
Yes. So it's
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. It's from Last Kiss. It's a zombie holding a girl, and the girl's saying something like, "I think I forgot why I'm not supposed to love him," or something. He's like chewing on her head. It's a really funny picture, but it's a real clear shot in the comic book when the redheaded girl is with Cruther Parley, and she wants to buy this weird thing, and the guy behind the counter is saying "sold," and you can see it right behind him, plain as day. So it's a really, really neat thing. So Mike, congratulations to you and your buds who got that on the amazing show Big Bang Theory. Pretty awesome stuff. Also a shout out, this weekend we're taping is Mother's Day. So all you mothers out there, I'd like to personally thank my mother for having me, Mama Moses, and Mrs. Moses for our lovely children. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. So that should work for another 365 days. And you guys are now covered, so you don't have to do anything.
Awesome, thanks. My Mother's Day is in March, so it's sort of I was already there, done that.
Oh, you've been there, done that.
Then
Matt,
I get one card.
You have a quick shout out too, do you not?
I do. Just to say, it's more of an info shout out than a shout out to an individual. But the Motherland X voting thing on SeahawkBlue.com. Any UK Seahawkers listening, make sure you do go over there and select the ones if you are able to travel. Don't select anything if you're not traveling, of course, because that's not fair on those that are. But if you are looking to travel over to Seattle this year, go over to the SeahawkBlue.com, over to the forums, over to the thread, and pick your chosen date.
It's a jolly good time.
Jolly good time. It's a fantastic time in Seattle. I love it. I love it over there.
Don't worry, we won't hurt you.
Much. Just don't wear a utility kilt. It's just not a good idea.
Oh,
no. Putting it out there.
Hey, quick story before we start the news. True story. Today is the 8th of May, and we're taping. Of course, I work at school. I have this girl came up to me and she said, "Hey, my birthday's in 13 days." And I said, "Oh, your birthday's the 21st?" She said, "No, it's the 29th. I don't count weekends." So, yes, folks, the education system's working well. Okay, enough of the education. Let's get to the first quarter and news. Yes, news from around the NFL while you were out timing your mother's 40-yard dash. Here is our 12th Man Fan Jam Newshound Shadowhawk Will with the news. Will, what do you got for us?
Well, Moses, fittingly, my first item has to do with something that happened on draft day. Specifically when the Titans did not trade their pick and ended up selecting Oregon quarterback Marcus Mariota.
No, wait a minute. According to Goodell, it was Mariota or something, but go ahead.
Well, actually, that's what I was going to address. He called him Marcus Mariota, said he was from Oregon, and for the last time, it's Oregon, people, Oregon. Okay. But anyway, Goodell did realize that he screwed up, ended up calling Mariota later to apologize for getting his name wrong. Mariota said that when he got the call from the commissioner, everyone was cheering so loud that I wasn't able to actually hear the pick. He apologized, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So,
well, that's pretty much like every time. That's like every time the commissioner talks, isn't it?
Pretty much. But you know, good for Goodell for apologizing. But really, you didn't know that his name was going to be called. It's not like some of the. It's not like some of the guys in your mock draft last week. I mean, Mariota is not that hard.
Bob, did you guys catch that in the stands when they called Mariota?
Actually, we did not. It was kind of loud there, and so we weren't really listening to Goodell much.
Well, that's probably good practice for just about every day, not listening to Goodell. But
it could have been worse. He could have done a John Travolta and a Dina Menzel from the Oscars thing, where he got his he just completely ruined the name, just made up entirely.
Smith.
Yeah, Smith.
That kid from Oregon. Mark, were you surprised that the commissioner couldn't pronounce the second pick of the draft?
Not really, but I heard that he's going to make up for it because there's going to be official baby mama, day for the NFL, after breast cancer day. So he's going to try and make up for it like that.
Oh, dear.
Woo! I wish that somewhere in the world there was a Marcus Mariota, and he had to we called my name, so you drafted me, obviously. And then he had to show up at the Titans camp and stuff. I guess it wasn't.
Well, it probably is.
Then again, maybe that's just a dream in my life. All right, well, enough dreaming in my life. Let's get back to reality. What else you got for us?
Well, Moses, LaShawn McCoy is not a big fan of Chip Kelly these days after being traded to Buffalo. And let's face it, can you blame the poor guy? But McCoy went a little bit too far this week talking about Chip Kelly. The relationship was never really great, McCoy told ESPN the magazine. I feel like I always respected him as a coach. I think that's the way he runs his team. He wants the full control. You see how fast he got rid of all the good players, especially all the good black players. He got rid of them the fastest. That's the truth. There's a reason. Now, McCoy is not the first person to suggest that Kelly has a racial motive in some of his decisions. Stephen A. Smith at ESPN also made similar comments. But former Eagles guard Todd Herremans has a different take on the whole matter. He's also been let go. He's now playing for the Colts, a team in Moses' backyard. He was asked by a Twitter follower if he thought Kelly was racist. Herremans' reply, I feel he is equally racist to all races, which I guess would make him not racist. So I don't know how any of this pans out, but have at it.
He'll be overthinking that, isn't
he? Somebody learned something at that rookie symposium. I guess he crashed it.
Something.
So he's an equal opportunity offender, apparently.
Yeah, I'm an equal opportunity racist. I hate everybody.
I hate all races.
I hate everybody.
How nice of you. Apparently, I know that he had petitioned the NFL to change their name to the Wizards, but it didn't go through. So, I had to go there. I can't believe Washington changed from the Bullets to the Wizards, and they thought that was cool. I don't get that. Wow, Chip Kelly is a racist to everyone. So an equal opportunity racist. Who knew?
No. Allegedly.
Allegedly equal.
The whole thing is just ludicrous. So. Yeah.
Agreed. But I like I said, McCoy's been traded to Buffalo. I mean, you got to cut him a little slack. He's got to live in Buffalo.
Yeah, I'd be a little upset myself. I'd be a little upset myself. What's your last story this evening, Will?
Well, Moses, some weeks I have a hard time coming up with stories like these, and other weeks they're just handed to me on a silver platter. There's been a lot of response to the Wells report detailing the Patriots' transgressions in Deflategate.
What?
But none better than the response offered up by Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, dear God.
First, he was tracked down by television reporters wanting to get some comments after the Wells report was released. As reporters hurried after him, Gronk said nothing but smiled and flexed his biceps as he continued to walk away. Afterwards, he posted a video on Bleacher Report's Uninterrupted where he said the following, and I won't be able to do this justice. Look it up, watch the clip yourself, but here comes. The media runs storming out. All they want to know is questions about Deflategate. Well, guess what? What about all the fundraising for the kids? All the kids, everyone doing a great job. All the behind the scenes that I do, Rodman Ride for Kids does, all of that. No one ever wants to expand on that. Oh, it gets better, trust me. For the kids, all these charity events. No, they're only worried about the story for the Deflategate. You know, these sure ain't deflating. These are only inflating. And he's flexing his bicep again when he's saying that. So get ready, because I'm going to be ready. And there's only one thing you can deflate. These nuts!
Wow.
Good night, everybody. That's a great show.
Clip. I am not kidding. Watch the clip.
He's not talking Blue Almond, is he? Wow.
Oh, God.
Bob, you had a comment?
I was just saying these nuts.
Wow, I haven't
love
seen
it.
that, Jim. Yeah.
I just love the idea, Moses, that it's okay
I just watched that like 5. I was just watching that like 5 before I got on here. I was just busting a gut. It was so funny.
I saw it too. It's hysterical. It's hysterical.
I just love the idea that it's okay to cheat as long as you do good things for children.
Yeah, think of the children. Think of the children. Are you cheating? Think of the children.
It's all for the kids. It's all for the kids.
Think of the children, people. Oh, my God. Yeah, so I guess real quick, now that the cat is out of the bag, we can very quickly go over this Deflategate thing, because it just happened. Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, Matt, what are your thoughts on Deflategate?
Surprised anyone? No, I don't understand how it can take so long to get so little from a report, really, that says it's entirely possible that somebody from the Patriots knew that they had deflated the balls, and it's entirely possible that Tom Brady possibly could have known about it. Oh, and how much did you pay this former, was he FBI, CIA, KGB? I don't know. But, how much did you pay this person to come up with a report that says possibly maybe something happened, which possibly maybe Tom Brady possibly maybe knew about? Of course he knew about it. Of course they did it. Of course, no one is surprised, apart from apparently Bill Belichick, who's like astonished that this has occurred. And apparently, what's the latest information on the fine or the penalty? What they're going to do? They're going to make him not sit on a naughty step for an hour or something? What's the latest on that?
Nothing yet, except he's supposedly going to get fined. But I'll believe it when I see it.
There is a report out saying that he is going to be suspended. The only question is how many games, and that's going to come out next week. We'll see.
But, just fine one of the richest players in the world. Just do it, because I'm sure that money that he loses is going to be a real problem for him. It's just a load of old nonsense. The NFL is so bad, so poor at things like this. I mean, it's so fast to be able to jump on people like Marshawn Lynch, who just wants to sit there and not comment at a journalist meeting. Well, let's throw the book, the chair, the library, the wall at him. But if you cheat during an AFC championship game, well, it'll take us 8 months to come up with any offer, and we might suspend you from practice for a game.
And I think Bob will back me up here, won't you, Predatorhawk? But living in Indiana, I can assure you, I have not met one Colts fan that says this is why we lost that game. They lost 45-7, but that doesn't matter. There was cheating done. Am I right, Bob?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's not about, hey, that deflating of the balls affected the outcome of the game, but it's like, why cheat? Yep. You are so good. Why cheat? And that's why they hate him here.
Exactly. Yeah. Mark, I always say it like this. It's like, okay, a kid cheats and he cheats on a test, and he gets the test and he realizes, well, this test is easy, and he aces it, but he was still cheating, right, Mark? I mean, just because, it didn't have an outcome in the game doesn't make it right.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just sitting here trying to remember what the over-under was for that game, because maybe the Patriots had heavy money on the over. I don't know, to push it to 45. The thing is that I'm really curious. I'll be shocked, even if it is appropriate. I'll be shocked if he even gets suspended a game. I meant if he does, then I'm surprised even that much is going to happen.
That's kind of where I'm at. Will, what are your outlooks on this?
Well, I think the biggest thing for Tom Brady is that he supposedly lied to Belichick when he said he had no idea any of this was going on. And he also did not turn over his cell phone or fully cooperate. I think more than anything else, that's what's going to result in a pretty big penalty for him. Because Roger Goodell does not like it when people lie to him.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, I think Brady was afraid that there'd be certain photos of his wife leak, so maybe that's probably part of the problem.
Oh, my. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, yeah, the big problem is that they kind of set a precedence with the Saints and this just whole aura of how the NFL appears, and now they've already been caught once with the Spygate. Now they got caught on this. He doesn't have any choice but to hammer him hard.
I would certainly think so, especially since it's, like you said, not their first offense. It certainly does put a stigma on their dynasty, what I think wasn't needed. I mean, they were talented enough. I did a whole big rant on Brady leading 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns in the Super Bowl. And I mean, you talk about a guy with this, showing that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. You can't do much better than bring your team back against the best defense in the NFL, down 2 scores, and just calmly go down the field and pick them apart for 2 straight drives. And then this happens. I mean, it's not needed. It's not needed. And they've really tarnished their own legacy.
But their legacy is, I'm sorry, but their legacy is tarnished before we even get to this point. You've got video stuff going on. You've got the whole thing, even this season as well. Not properly informing referees of who isn't eligible. All of the, the little things that they do, which are just slightly on the grey side of the rules. Letting £2 per square inch out of a football, just a little bit on the grey side of the rule. It isn't. It's they're trying to find little tiny things to change for big improvements in performance, but their legacy is nothing. It's tarnished. It's completely destroyed, in my opinion.
And they did not just come up with this idea for the first time right before the AFC Championship game.
Of course not.
So this has been going on for who knows how long, and that, I think, is another reason why Goodell. I don't think Goodell wants to come down on him, but I think he's going to have to.
I don't think there's any choice. I think we'll stop right there. Will, thank you for your news.
Not a problem.
Now, this is usually where the end of the first quarter, but there's one news story that every once in a while, something comes across the wire that I just have to share with the posse real quick. And so we're going to call this section the 12th Man Fan Jam News Bazaar. Yes, the bizarre news, something that comes across that has nothing to do with football, but I just have to share this and get opinions on it. Real quick, Dateline, Indianapolis. An Indianapolis woman was arrested for her roommate's murder, where she allegedly stabbed her victim 224 times.
Well, if a thing is worth doing, it's worth doing well.
My question, I have many questions about this. Did she get tired and switch arms? Like get to 100 and go, okay, 100 here, 100 there. Did she count to 224? And why didn't she go to 225? At least Matt's asleep. That's why he's laughing.
Well, no, the thing is that clearly you've seen the price of new knives these days, haven't you? If you've got to buy one to do this thing, you've got to get your money's worth. You just got to keep going.
I just 224 times. After the first 50, I'm going, okay, I'm done. Did she do that? Did she stab her 80 times, stop, take a break, have a sandwich, go back, eat more?
I'm gonna be a bit sexist, so I'm sorry to the ladies listening, but when women get really angry sometimes and they start pointing or they do something, and as they talk they start doing this. I can almost imagine she was having a full paragraph sort of sentence of a rant against this poor person.
My God, she must have had a speech.
Yeah, but she might have a stutter. You don't know.
Yeah, that's true. This is my favorite part of the report. Police found a bloody knife at the scene and determined that she had been stabbed 224 times on her chest, neck, face, shoulder, back, and head. Well, yeah, I guess that's about everything, right? With wounds to her heart, lungs, neck, and head. Well, yeah, okay. Her death was ruled a homicide. You think?
I was like, please tell me that. Please tell
Natural
me
causes.
The police are suspecting foul play.
Yeah, police suspect foul play. 224 times. She's going to be the arm wrestling champ of Cell Block D. I mean, come on. Can you imagine? Oh,
goodness.
Okay. What a world. Okay, and with that bizarre ending to the first quarter, I think we'll stop right there.
You just took a stab at that, didn't you, Moses?
Oh, yes! I took a stab at it. Now, this is usually where we take a break, and between the first and second quarter, we have a 60-second rant. However, due to last week, I have to read a rant that was handed to me. I'm not allowed to doctor this in any way, shape, or form, nor will I. So this will be the 60-second rant between the quarters, and it will be live. Now, for those of you who didn't listen to the last show, shame on you. Go back to 304 and listen. But at the end of that show, Will had made a mock draft, and I had made a mock draft of who we thought the Seahawks would draft. Will's was made with great forethought and thinking through and using his intelligence and his scouting and his research. Mine was just a list of funny names.
Incredible luck.
And guess who won? Because I said if anybody gets drafted by the Seahawks, you get so many points. And if it's in the round you say it is, you get double the points. Well, here comes the fourth round, and who comes up but Mr. Glowinski? And, of course, Will can't wait to tell me, hey, that's my guy. Yeah, Will, that's your guy.
Yeah, days of research going into that thing. I hit on one pick.
Hey, that's better than me. I hit on none. But, of course, I just had goofy names. So, the 60-second rant is brought to you by Will. I'm reading exactly what he sent me. Okay. Bienvenue, mes amis. C'est moi, le Reverend Moses, délégué des Seahawk Positivity. Okay, I'll stop there. Okay, the rest won't be in French. In any event, Will won the draft contest, and as a result, I have to do any 60-second rant of his choosing. We have a great crew here at the 12th Man Fan Jam, what with Mark and Dustin and Will, and Matt too, I guess.
Thanks. Cheers.
I've always tried to show my appreciation for everything they do to make this show great. But one of the others think that I don't get enough credit for all the hard work that I do for this show. Whether it's putting together the audio, creating YouTube videos, lining up guest appearances, and a million other things nobody knows about. They think it's high time I got some of the kudos for the work that I do here, but I'm not one to toot my own horn. However, I lost the contest, and Will's making me. So thank you, me, for everything I do to make this show the best podcast on the internet, and go Hawks. Thanks, guys.
Beautiful.
I know. I'm going to go take a break here. We are at the end of the first quarter, finally.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
We will go take a quick break, come back to the second quarter.
Wild.
I know, that wasn't thank God Bob didn't do it, because God knows what I'd be saying if Bob did it. But we'll take a quick break here, come back in the second quarter, and we'll find out a little bit about Mr. Predatorhawk and see what makes him tick. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam.
The Seattle Seahawks select.
I never heard of most of them. Who are these f***ing guys?
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Yes, welcome to the second quarter of episode 305 of your 12th Man Fan Jam. This is the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church Seahawk Positivity, and I am here with our posse. We're going to talk a little bit about the draft. We're going to have a great halftime trivia contest that you can play along with as well. Before we do that, the second quarter, I thought we would talk a little bit more to our guest in depth. His name is Bob Predatorhawk VanDenburgh. Bob, welcome again. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. Now, Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Predatorhawk?
Well, Predatorhawk is a character that came about probably back in 2009, and I just randomly decided I was going to face paint myself at a Seahawks game up in Seattle. And I wear that hat with the dreadlocks, and face painted in a camo thing, and a friend of mine says, "Man, you remind me of the Predator monster on the Schwarzenegger movie. I'm going to call you Predatorhawk," and it sort of just stuck. And that was kind of the birth of the Predatorhawk.
That's pretty sweet. And now you lived in Seattle then, or the Washington area?
I did. I was in the Navy, and I transferred to Seattle back in 1985. But my ties to the Seahawks go back before that. My great-grandfather lived in Poulsbo, Washington, and he was a season ticket holder when the Seahawks first came out back in '76. And I went to my first Seahawks game with him back in 1979. Saw the Oakland Raiders play up there, and fortunately for the Seahawks, they lost. But that was the day back in October of '79 that I became a Seahawks fan for life.
Excellent, excellent. And so is that your favorite non-playoff Seahawk moment, was your first game?
I would have to say yes. Going into the Kingdome back then, a lot of people outside the Pacific Northwest, they've never heard of the Seahawks, they've never heard of the 12th man. But going to a game in 1979 and the passion up in Seattle and the noise and the crowd energy, that's when I was just a Seahawk for life right there.
Excellent. Excellent. Who's your favorite Seahawk right now on the team?
My favorite Seahawk on the team right now is probably Richard Sherman. I love his tenacity, his skill set, and the fact that he's not afraid to tell everybody how good he is.
Yeah. Good pick. Good pick. How about in the past? Who's your favorite Seahawk from the past growing up?
Well, Cortez Kennedy comes immediately to mind. I love watching him play back in the 80s. But this last weekend that we might talk about later, Kenny Easley. Yep. That guy is like he's like Earl Thomas reincarnated.
And you got we'll talk third quarter about this, but when you went up to the draft in Chicago, you got to meet Kenny Easley, didn't you?
I did. It was the highlight of my Chicago trip.
That's awesome. And we'll talk about that when we go. We'll talk to you about your trip to Chicago for the draft, third quarter. I know that this summer you and another frequent guest and a friend of the show, Canadian Andy, we call him on here, Northern Hawk, you two are nominated for the PFUFA. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that is and what that means?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Right before the Denver game last year, Bernie Hawk, Paul Gates, and Cannonball, Brad Carr, they met up with me before and presented me with a draft card. And both Andy and I have gotten presented with that. And essentially what that is it's an opportunity to apply for selection into the PFUFA, and it's a long process, but both of us made it through, and both of us will be going to Canton this year to be presented to the entire membership and hopefully get invited into this great organization.
Fantastic. What does it stands for Pro Football's Ultimate Fan Association. What kind of things do they do outside of football?
Well, one of the things, they're very involved in their community wherever they are at. And there's a lot of good things going on. And just a couple of things, I got to meet Big Nasty while I was up at the draft this year. And he's a PFUFA fan from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he's tireless, spending energy with kids at the schools to not only keep them in schools, but keep them away from drugs. And same type of thing up in Philadelphia with Sean Young. And you guys might have seen this guy on there. He is like the face of Philadelphia Eagle fans. And he does a tremendous amount of stuff within his community. And that's what's really nice about the PFUFA is we're all passionate about our fan or our football team, our local football team, but we're all focused on, hey, make your community a better place to live.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. And I've had the opportunity when I've come up to Seattle to see a few of these fans from other teams. And I have to say, I have yet to meet any of them from any team at any time that they're just wonderful. It's a wonderful group. Predatorhawk, they're a bunch of great people. There's no doubt about that.
I agree with that. And I'm very excited going to Canton this year. It's an organization I'm very honored to have the privilege of being a potential nominee for, and it's very exciting because, you know, when you look down to it, the NFL has 32 teams, and if there wasn't fan bases from 32 teams all affecting in a positive way their local communities, it would kind of leave the NFL, I don't know, a little bit wanting, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk a little bit about where you live, Bob. Predatorhawk, you live south of me here in the wonderful state of Indiana. You went to Super Bowl 48. What was that experience like?
Oh my God, that was just friggin' amazing. I have no other way to describe that. I went up there, I met up with the people who nominated me into the PFUFA, Bernie Hawk and Cannonball. And in fact, Bernie Hawk and I roomed together, Paul Gates. And he's a past president of the Rocky Mountain Seahawkers. He lives in Denver. But going up into New York, there was so many Seahawk fans there. We way outnumbered the Bronco fans, I can tell you that. And that was just an incredible life experience to be able to be there and experience that with the team and with all the 12s that were up there.
Wonderful, wonderful. I know Super Bowl 49 you didn't get to go. I actually went down to your establishment to watch it, and you have something called the Triple B. You want to talk a little bit about what the Triple B is?
Yeah, it's an exciting thing. You were there. I love the fact that you were down there. But the Triple B, it stands for Bob's Basement Bar, but it's the local Southern Indiana Seahawks hangout.
Yep.
And any Seahawk fans in the area, you message me, and drinks are on the house in the Triple B. And as Moses can tell you, the Triple B is what it is. It's a real bar. It's in my basement, and it's got a bar with glass over the bar thing. And the best thing is to get your picture under glass.
Yep. Yeah, it's quite a sight. It is wall-to-wall Seahawk stuff in the middle of Indiana, of all places, which I think is fantastic. Yeah, we were able to watch Super Bowl 49 with you down there. Anybody have any other questions for Bob? For Predatorhawk?
I was just wondering, Bob, how long does it take you to sort of get ready, like pre-game? How much time do you invest in getting all the garb on and getting to look like that?
Well, thanks for that. It was it's gotten better over the years. When I first started dating my current wife, I took her to Seattle. We've been dating like 4 weeks. This was in 2009. I flew her up to Seattle to spend New Year's in Seattle. We watched the fireworks and Space Needle, all that kind of good stuff. But I took her to a Rams game, and we're in the hotel room, and I'm getting ready to go to the game, and she's like, I can't believe I'm dating a guy who takes longer to put his makeup on than I do. And I've gotten better.
Nice.
It was... It started out when I first started doing it was about an hour and a half, and I'm down to about maybe 35, 40 minutes now.
Wow.
And about the same to take it all off again?
Actually, I get it off pretty quick. Makeup, the white's pretty good.
That's excellent. Anybody have any other questions for Predatorhawk?
Hey, Bob, I was just wondering, what's one road trip to a Seahawks game that you have not taken yet that you would really love to?
Well, to be honest with you, going to Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay is an awesome place. It's a fan-owned team, and I can't wait. We're going there this next season. It's on my list. I'm going there. I think going to Green Bay is probably the one road trip that I haven't made that I absolutely want to make. Now, there's other road trips that I haven't made. I haven't been to Tampa Bay, and I haven't been to a lot of places that I will, but Green Bay's got to top that list.
Cool.
Excellent questions. Well, we're awful glad that you're here, Predatorhawk, for sure, and we want to appreciate you for sitting in. Are you ready to try to challenge these guys in some trivia?
Oh, heck yeah. Bring it on.
All right. All right, let's end. It's almost halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
That was our interview with Predatorhawk. He will be this summer joining a lot of wonderful people in the PFUFA. And he's going to now take on our champion, Matt, and the rest of the posse in a rousing rendition of 12th Man Fan Jam halftime trivia coming up right after this.
Hey, this is Matt, all the way from merry old England, and you're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12th Man Fan Jam halftime trivia with your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, man. Welcome to the rousing rendition of 12th Man Fan Jam halftime trivia, the game where you, the people watching, can pay attention and play as well as our contestants. But let's meet our contestants, shall we? First contestant from the Triple B, where the 3 B's stand for booze, babes, and buffoonery. Welcome, Predatorhawk. Next from California, where he moonlights as an Uber driver from hell. Welcome, Statsman Mark.
Hello, buddy. I'm tired of driving around punters, but thank you.
Wow, I'm tired of driving around punters. I love it. Just love it. All right. And from our newshound from Washington, who's half the man he used to be, please welcome Will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And finally, last episode's halftime trivia champ from England, where queens are born and princesses are stalked by paparazzi. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Hello.
All right. Those are the contestants. Now here are the rules. So here's how the trivia game works. There will be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there will be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tied players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12th Man Fan Jam Trivia Champion and gets to have a special 60-second rant between the first and second quarter of the very next episode of the 12th Man Fan Jam Show. As an added bonus to those listeners on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen, so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well if you wish. If you'd like to play along, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline for each of the contestants. Before the taping of this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take this quiz. And if the contestants want to know what the kids said, they may ask that only once during the entire game show and only during the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12th Man Fan Jam Trivia. All right, those are the rules, so let's get started. We will, of course, allow our guest to get first shot. Questions 1 through 4. Predatorhawk, what number would you like? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I'll go with 2.
Then our champ, Matt, 1, 3, or 4?
I'll go with 1.
Mark, 3 or 4?
I will do number 3.
Will?
I want 5.
Maybe you'll get your chance. All right, here we go, guys. Remember the rules, no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, if you're paying attention, no wagering. But if you are out there watching, you know that you can play along, and remember, you can always ask my kids, and I'll tell you what they answered if you want to know. All right, Matt, question 1 is yours. Are you ready?
Yep, I am ready.
All right. You know, this is all about the draft picks, by the way. 8 questions about 8 draft picks. It came out really nice and easy. So this should be easy, right? Let's start in round 2. Round 2, quick pick. Frank Clark played at Michigan. Of course, Michigan is known as being the Wolverines. Who did Hugh Jackman study on film to prepare for his role as Wolverine? Was it Clint Eastwood, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or Sylvester Stallone? Hey, Matt, you got some organ, buddy?
Oh, God. I'm just about ready to pull my headset off, slam it on the phone, put it off, and go to bed.
Clint Eastwood, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. Who did Hugh Jackman study?
Clint Eastwood.
He says Clint Eastwood.
He had a cigar, because he had the cigar thing, didn't he? He kept chewing on the end of a cigar. Didn't Wolverine chew on a cigar? And that seems to remind me of some of the films that Clint Eastwood used to do.
Well, and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie Predator did that too. But Little Mo said Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mosette said Sylvester Stallone. You said Clint Eastwood. You're right. Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
And Matt's on the board.
Good luck, everybody. Good guys.
All right. Yes, that's an indication of how the rest of the picks are. All right, Bob, are you ready?
I think so.
All right, here we go. Yours has to do with round 3 pick Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett played at Kansas State, and his dad was NFL receiver Kevin Lockett, of course. For what NFL team did Kevin Lockett make his last reception for? Was it the Chiefs, the Jets, or the Redskins? Chiefs, Jets, or Redskins? Where did he make his last catch?
I want to hear what the kids say.
Oh, he's going with the kids. All right.
Oh, he's going with the kids.
Well, Little Mo said the Chiefs, and Mosette said the Jets. Nobody said the Redskins.
Man, I'm going. I don't know why, but I'm thinking the Chiefs, so that's where I'm going.
He says the Chiefs. All right. He said the Chiefs. Little Mo said the Chiefs. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Jets. The Jets. Yeah, he started with the Chiefs.
Who are the chefs?
Yeah, Googly Moogly. All right, Mark, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here you go. This is about round 4 pick Terry Poole Jr. He is from San Diego State. What are the 4-letter call letters for the TV station Ron Burgundy worked for in San Diego for the movie The Anchorman? Was it KWVR, KVVR, or KVWN?
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. The station that Ron Burgundy worked for in the movie Anchorman in San Diego, was it KWVR, or was it station KVVR, or was the station KVWN?
And of course, I've seen that movie. Oh boy, I'm gonna go with Jesus. I'll go with the third option, whatever that was, number 3.
KVWN. Both kids said KVVR. You said KVWN. You're right. KVWN.
That was a Matt-esque answer. I had no idea.
Well done. Well done.
Matt, it works. Like it.
It was.
It works.
It works. You know, ironically, Will, round 4 is up again, and Will's up, and it's about Kevin Glowinski, which I think is poetic justice after what you did to me. So, your question. Are you ready, Will?
Yep.
All right. Round 4 pick Kevin Glowinski went to West Virginia University. What famous actor also went to West Virginia University? Andy Griffith, Don Knotts, or Tim Conway? And here's some organ for you to think about it. Andy Griffith, John Knotts, Tim Conway.
I'll try Tim Conway.
He's going with Tim Conway. The kids went with Tim Conway. You went with Tim Conway. Don Knotts went to West Virginia University. Don Knotts. All right, that's the end of round 1.
Okay.
And one action-packed round it was. Matt and Mark are on the board. Bob and Will, not so much. So as we move to round 2, we will start with Matt, 5, 6, 7, or 8.
7, please.
Matt takes 7. Mark, 5, 6, 8.
I will do number 6.
Okay, Bob, 5 or 8.
I'm thinking 8.
And that leaves Will with number 5.
Yeah, I did get number 5 after all.
You did. See, you wanted it, and you got it. All right, here we go. Question 5 has to do with round 5 pick Ty Smith. Ty Smith went to Townsend. Townsend's mascot was a tiger, but before 1962, they weren't the Tigers. What were they? Were they the Indians, the Knights, or the Wizards? What was Townsend's mascot before they were Tigers? Were they Indians, Knights, or Wizards?
I'm going to go with Indians.
He's going with Indians. The kids went with Wizards. You went with Indians. I'm sorry. They were the Knights. They were the Knights. So
yeah, the Knights who say
neat. How politically incorrect is the Knights?
I know. I don't know why they changed it. They just did. No clue. Mark, are you ready?
Ready as a punter, yes.
I love how the punter theme throughout the show. It's been excellent. Keep it up. Okay. Round 6 pick, Obum Gwacham. Went to Oregon State. And I bet Matt was thrilled when Obum Gwacham got picked because he's going to have to listen to me say that name.
I always think you're saying go out and watch him.
Go out and watch him. Obum Gwacham went to Oregon State, Mark. Hey, Mark. How long does it take a baby beaver to learn how to swim?
The hell?
1 day, 1 week, or 2 weeks?
Oh, wow.
They're beavers, Oregon State. They're beavers. How long does it take for a beaver to learn how to swim? A day, a week, or 2 weeks?
Oh, my goodness.
Totally valid.
Even for you, Moses.
It's related. It's related.
Do a Matty guess, Mark.
This is as ridiculous as the original match game from about 40 years ago.
Because he took his blank and put it in blank.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he's the beaver has to learn quick, otherwise it's going to drown in something awful. So
a day, a week, or 2 weeks.
I love how he's rationalizing it. It's great.
Yeah, he's got to keep his head above yeast. Let's see.
I challenge any Oregon State grad to know this answer. By the way,
Ward,
I'm going to say
all right.
Beaver. For the sake of keeping it moving, I'm going to say 1 day.
He says a day. Mosette says a day. Little Mo said a week. Oh, I'm sorry. It was a week. You didn't know that. What's wrong with you? All right.
Drat.
Oh, Matt, are you ready?
Oh, it's Sicoli, isn't it? Go on then.
Yeah, Christian Sicoli. He was born in Albania.
Right.
Yeah, Albania declared its independence in what year? 1892, 1901, or 1912? Albania! Independent! 1892, 1901, or 1912? Sicoli cares.
What was? Give me the dates.
1892, 1901, 1912.
1912.
1912, he says. Little Mo said 1912. Mosette said 1892. Little Mo said 1912. You said 1912. You're right.
Yes.
It's 1912.
Good guess.
Wow, Matt's at 2. Matt's 2 for 2. All right, Bob, let's get you on the board. You ready?
If only you were so lucky during the Revolution.
Yeah. We were quite lucky. We got rid of you and kept Canada. It worked wonderfully.
Oh dear.
Wait, did I say that out loud?
Oh, you damn Yankees. All right. Round 7 pick, Ryan Murphy is from Oregon State. When was the name Oregon State University officially adopted as the name of that university? Was it 1941, 1951, or 1961? Oregon State University became Oregon State University in 1941.
51.
He says 51.
1951.
Yeah, Little Mo said 41. Mosette said 51. You said 51. I'm sorry. It's 1961. So, as we go to our final question, as a recap, Matt has the lead with 2. Mark has 1. Bob and Will are scoreless. But do not fear, for this question is worth 2 points. And here's how it works. It's a number question. The person closest to the number without going over gets 2 points. If there's a tie after this round, we have a special overtime for those who are tied. So if all of you go over, it's the one closest to the number would get the answer. All right. And we're going to start with Matt. Matt, here is your question. It's all your questions, by the way. All right. Oh, hey, not yet. Shut up. All right,
Premature.
Premature Oregon. Matt, how many defensive backs were drafted in the 2015 NFL draft? How many defensive backs were drafted in the 2015 NFL Draft?
Hold on, there were how many picks were there in this poxy thing?
I don't know.
Weren't there?
256 picks total.
256 per total.
You were ready for that one, weren't you?
I'm gonna say 77.
77. Mark,
you
are next. How many defensive backs were drafted in the 2015 NFL Draft?
Wow. Let's see. Boy, I mean,
he's gonna name them all.
No. Brick, no can do. Let's see. There's only 7 rounds, so I'm gonna try and do some California public school math and go much lower than that. I'm gonna say 35.
35. Okay, Bob. How many defensive backs were drafted in the 2015 NFL Draft?
What were the 2 numbers we got so far? 35 and what?
35 and 77. Remember, the closest without going over, unless you all go over this, the closest.
That includes quarterbacks and safeties, correct?
I would think so. Defensive backs.
And who goes after me?
That would be Will.
So tactical. I love it.
I'm gonna make Will make a choice, and I'm gonna say 15.
15. Will. Ooh. How many defensive backs were drafted in the 2015 NFL Draft?
I have no idea, so I'm going to throw out 45.
Will says 45. How many defensive backs were drafted in the 2015 NFL Draft? We have 15, 35, 45.
I'm going to say Will has made a wrong decision.
Well, the correct answer,
one of many,
is 47, which means Will tied Matt, and we have overtime.
Wow.
Yes.
Doesn't happen very often.
Damn.
Will is a genius.
Yes, very close, very close.
Or very lucky.
He pulled it easily out of his ass.
Hey, consenting adults in the privacy of our own home.
Oh, my God. All right, here's how overtime works. This will be just Matt and Will. And since Matt had 2 questions right during the regular time, Matt will get to pick first. And again, same rules apply. Closest without going over wins it all. And then you both go over the closest to that number. Here you go. Are you ready? Matt?
Yes.
Oh, how many tight ends were drafted in the 2015
I knew it.
Draft?
I sat there and I thought to myself, what a stupid question. Is he going to come up for the overtime one? But it'll be another one of how many?
And just for that, and please, enjoy some Oregon. How many tight ends were drafted in the 2015 NFL Draft?
I don't know. It's going to be less than back, so I'm going to say 24.
Matt says 24. Will, how many tight ends were drafted in the 2015 NFL Draft?
This was kind of a lousy draft for tight ends, so I'm going to pull out another Seahawks number. I'm going to go with 12.
12. 24 and 12. Well, it just so happens that we do have a winner. The amount of tight ends that were drafted in the 2015 NFL Draft was 18, which means Will comes from behind. And he takes it off. There it is. Little Sammy Hagar for you, buddy. An exciting, rousing rendition of 12-Man Fan Jam. Halftime trivia is over. Will, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this amazing short break. We'll come back to the third quarter right after this.
Hi, I'm Mosette, Moses' daughter, and when he's not telling me to clean my room, he's on the 12-Man Fan Jam.
Mosette,
Call me Dad. Holy shit.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Yes, welcome back to the third quarter, start of the second half of episode 305 of your 12th Man Fan Jam show. We just had a halftime competition, a trivia competition, where Will once again give us a rant next episode. So you want to be looking for that. Congratulations, Will, on winning.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, and we are here with Will, we are here with Mark, we are here with Matt from Merry Old England. We're also here with Predatorhawk, our special guest. And Predatorhawk is going to take the third quarter a little bit. We're going to talk to him about his trip to Chicago for the draft. So Predatorhawk, when the draft came out, it was going to go to Chicago. When did you start formulating your plan about getting up there for the draft?
Well, to be honest with you, it was as soon as they announced it was in Chicago, I started making plans, because it's 5 hours away, and we're talking the NFL draft, so I had to go.
And how does one go about getting tickets and getting there, and how did that all come about?
Well, I pretty much decided I was going, and I didn't want to go on my own, so I sort of strong-armed a coworker to go with me. And when he mildly agreed that he would go along, he's a Detroit Lions fan, by the way, I said, well, you got to go, you got to register with the NFL, and you got to sign up for the ticket lottery. And as things work out, he got selected for the ticket lottery. And so we had tickets the first night to Selection Square. The draft was in the auditorium, but the secondary area was Selection Square. So we had tickets in the Selection Square area for the first night. So once he won those tickets, it was pretty much, it's a done deal, we're going.
So you had to win a ticket each night, or was it like the one ticket got you in all three?
No, the tickets were by event. So the first 2 nights, there was tickets you could win on the lottery for the auditorium, and there was tickets for Selection Square. A Midwest Seahawker, Val, he won tickets to the auditorium for the second day, which was rounds 2 and 3. And so he got into the auditorium. I only got into Selection Square on the first night, and then I was also in Selection Square on the third day, Saturday, rounds 4 through 7. And that was, they took Selection Square and they opened it up to the public for half of the seats, and the other half were the lottery draws. But we showed up early and got in early in the day.
Perfect. What was Chicago like when you got there, as far as the NFL and everything that was happening around? And what was Selection Square like?
Well, I mean, I can't give enough thoughts to the city of Chicago. They did such an incredible job. We drove up there on Thursday. We checked in the hotel. I, of course, as soon as I got checked into the hotel, I let the Predatorhawk out. And we went down. We were staying no more than 2 blocks away from Grants Park. And the NFL and the city of Chicago had turned the entire park into this NFL Disneyland, if you will. I mean, there was, you could go down there for the NFL Play 60, and you could go down there in one area and do what the draft prospects did during the combines. You could go down and see all the Bears Super Bowl memorabilia. It was just this huge area, like a gigantic NFL carnival. It was incredibly awesome what they did. It was very nice. And the weather in Chicago for those 3 days was just awesome.
Yeah, you really lucked out weather-wise. That's very true. And then you got to meet somebody kind of special one night, did you not?
Yeah. Going into this thing, I was telling my friends, I'm going down there with my friend Matt. We got tickets to the first night. I had looked on the agenda for the ceremonies and whatnot, and Kenny Easley is one of the autograph signers for Thursday night. And so I told him, I said, man, Kenny Easley is one of my favorite players. I would really love to get an autograph by Kenny Easley. So we go down into the area. We check into Selection Square. We get our wristbands. and we're checking out the activities, and the line for autographs was, I would have spent the entire Thursday night waiting in line, and I was like, man, I can't do that to you. My friend was only going to be there Thursday night. He was leaving. And so I said, well, as much as I would love to get an opportunity to get Kenny Easley's autograph, we'll go ahead and pass and check out everything else while we can. So I passed on that, and then Friday night, I go down in there, and we're hanging out, and quite honestly, it was a fluke, but Kenny Easley decided to show up in the Seahawks tent, and I was able to meet him. We got group photos and got some autographs from him. It was amazing.
Very cool, very cool. And he hung out, you said, way longer than he had to. Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, when it happened, I was sitting 2 tents down with a bunch of Rams fans that were friends of mine, and I was sitting there watching the draft in their tent, and this random Cardinals fan walked into the tent. He walked up to me, and of course, I'm dressed up like the Predatorhawk, and he goes, "Aren't you a Seahawks fan?" And I go, "Yeah." And I figured he was going to give me grief about sitting in the Rams tent. And he goes, "Well, there's some old Seahawk safety over in your tent." And I go, "Kenny Easley?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think that's what his name was." So, of course, I jumped up and go running over there. And sure enough, there's Kenny Easley. And there was only like 12s in the room. I mean, it was just him and very few of us. Wow. And I would say he was there about a good 45 minutes. He took pictures with us. We had our 12th flag up. He took a group photo with us. He signed all of our personal stuff. And then he sat down at the table and pulled out like publicity photos and personally signed all of those to everybody in attendance.
Wow.
And then he just hung out. He was an amazing guy. It was fantastic.
Well, the irony of that is there was a Cardinals fan. Didn't he wind up going to the Cardinals briefly there at the end of his career?
I think he did, right? He's up for a trade, and he was doing the physicals, and that's when they found out about his kidneys problems right at the end of his career. Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, so ironically, it was a Cardinal fan. Anybody have any other questions about the draft? Sounds like a wonderful experience in Chicago. Does anybody else have any questions for Predatorhawk about his experience up there?
I just think I just want to comment that it's awesome that he got to go, and on TV it looked like it was a more festive kind of draft than New York, where there are really no playgrounds or so. It looked like a pretty cool setup in Chicago, the way they did it outdoors on the last couple of days.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it was like a big carnival, and you're there, and of course there is a preponderance of Bears fans. I mean, it's in Chicago, but the one thing that my Lions fan who went with me on Thursday that he acknowledged, said it was amazing. You see this big environment. There was 10,000 people there on Thursday night. And there was more Friday and Saturday. And there's jerseys from every NFL team there. There's fans representing every team. And there wasn't a single testosterone moment. Everybody was having a good time repping their team, interacting with the other fans. It was a lot of fun. And the NFL, I mean, sometimes they really screw things up. We all know that. But they did this one right, and Chicago did a great job of backing them up as well.
Wonderful.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
Wonderful. Well, I think that's the end of the third quarter. Predatorhawk, thanks for sharing your experiences on the draft.
Hey, my pleasure.
All right, we'll take a quick break here, and hey, let's talk about that draft when we get back. Let's talk about what the Seahawks did on those 3 days that Predatorhawk was in Chicago. And we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Well,
and now it's time for a 12th Man Fan Jam 60-second rant.
You know you make me wanna rant.
I don't want to get off on a rant here.
Right, so my victory last week in the 12-man Fan Jam halftime trivia show, and if you did miss that, go back and have a listen, because you'll see how fantastic I am at that whole trivia thing. It gives me 60 seconds to rant about something. And as we're just coming off from the draft, I suppose I ought to have a little rant about that, really. So I'm going to do that. I just want to say I'm really missing being part of the first day of the draft. You know, all the excitement, all the hype, all the razzmatazz of who'll go in the first round, which person will go to which team, when and how. I mean, the last time we picked anyone in the first round, 2012. Draft Bruce Irvin, 15th overall. 2012, people. 3 years. 3 years I've had nothing to do on the first day of draft day other than lay back and bask in the glory of knowing that we picked a better player that we couldn't possibly have gotten, even if we had have gone through the draft on the first day. I know I shouldn't complain. We've got some excellent players and opportunities from trading up or trading away our first round picks, Jimmy Graham being the latest acquisition, but I'm starting to really miss just being part of all of the first day action. You know, the endless examination by the pundits, pointless predictions that never come true, and of course, the all-important claims by the said pundits and counterclaims that was a reach or he just doesn't fit their scheme. So I suppose all I'm really ranting about is our front office for being awesome and making incredibly sensible draft pick decisions and getting genuinely maximum value out of all of our available draft picks. And in case you haven't detected it yet, this whole rant is actually laden with sarcasm. It's sort of a second language for us British people, a bit like English is for you Americans.
And now, it's time for the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to lead us through the final quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, welcome to the fourth and final quarter of episode 305 of your 12th Man Fan Jam. We remind you that we are on Facebook, the 12th Man Fan Jam Show on Facebook. Look us up. Also, Twitter at Seahawk Positivity, and also 12thmanfanjam at gmail.com. Send us some comments. Comment on this thread. Comment on this YouTube video spot. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you did on the trivia. And we'd love to hear from you. Our special guest, Predatorhawk, is here this episode. We'll try to have a different guest each episode, especially during the off season, to interview a little bit. But now let's talk about this draft that the Seahawks had that Predatorhawk talked about going to see in Chicago on the 3-day draft binge in Chicago. Here is your draft list presented before you. And Will, as we look at this draft list overall, what are your overall feelings about what the Seahawks did in the draft?
Well, you know, the Clark pick obviously dominated all the news stories, and for good reason. It's a difficult issue, and it's something that needs to be addressed. But when you look at the draft as a whole, I think we really we hit on our needs. I mean, we needed another edge rusher. We badly needed a kick and punt returner. No more Brian Walters experience, please. You know, the draft was had so many good offensive linemen. We could pick up a pair of them in the fourth round. You got some developmental guys in the later rounds. I really like this draft. I think this is one that's going to rank up there with the better ones of Carroll and Schneider's tenure.
Mark had texted me during the draft, and basically said, you know, like our kick return guy, another offensive lineman. What did you think, Mark? What did you think of this draft?
Well, of course, my first text was concerning our you know, was concerning Clark, but I mean, we'll get into more of that later.
Yeah.
I love a dossier that includes home invasion and you know, dismissed from the team. But anyway, more on that later. You know what? Again, I agree with Will. I think overall, I did like, you know, what we did. It seemed like best player available matched also our team needs, and I really liked what I was hearing about you know, Tyler Lockett. I guess you know, the second rounder. And for our offense and for what we do, how good we are defensively, every extra yardage we get on kickoff returns or punt returns, if he ends up doing both, is just one of those huge kind of hidden stats for a team like ours. But overall, I did like what we did.
Yeah, Bob, did you like what you saw?
I did. I was really intrigued with Walken. I had tagged him early as somebody that I think was going to really benefit the Seahawks. So I was very pleased when I saw them grab him in the third round there.
Yeah, I was too. Matt, what were your thoughts?
Round 4 was I felt better by round 4. Frank Clark was, and we will talk about that later, so let's not talk about that now. But Frank Clark was a concern, and then Tyler, I was excited. I thought that was a good pick. But the round 4 for the 2 offensive guards, that I really want to try and see Russell have time in the pocket to throw and do what he needs to do, and without having to scramble. So for me, those 2 there, they were much needed, and that has given me a good feel for this draft.
Yeah, me too. Of course, the first pick, Frank Clark, there is some obvious baggage that comes along with that pick, Will. What were your feelings when they drafted him and then you heard what he was about and all what the things that surrounded him?
Well, I got to say I was not comfortable, and I'm still not entirely comfortable. I mean, I feel a bit better knowing that the prosecutor agreed with the Seahawks. She doesn't believe that Clark hit his girlfriend that night. From a purely football perspective, it makes a lot of sense because you look at our 2 Super Bowl teams back in 2013, we had the same starters, but we also had Red Bryant, Chris Clemens, Clinton McDonald. We just had so much depth on that line. Then you look at last year's Super Bowl, and Cliff Averill gets hurt, and we can't rush the passer anymore. So we had to come out of this draft with an edge rusher. Clark, if it weren't for the off-field issues, Clark probably would have been a late first, early second round pick. And I just hope, I think he's coming to a team that can help him, not have anything like this or anything bad happen again. And I hope it pans out, because if it does, I think he's going to have a big impact for us on the field.
I think so too. Mark, do you think it was a risky pick? But in my opinion, I don't know how you felt about it. As risky as it is, if Clark doesn't work out, we're not completely lost here on defense, right?
No, it's just it's always interesting how for this franchise and under this regime, and they've done outstanding, obviously overall. But it's always funny how a lot of our first selections, whether they're first round or second round, have the biggest question marks tied in with them. Maybe because of what's at stake, because they're higher picks. I read an article, I think, Terry Blount, the Seahawks beat writer, was talking about, I think there was 25 defensive ends selected after Clark, or thereabouts. And it's always, in years down the road, be interesting to see how those others work out. You just hope for the best. I mean, there's a reason they picked them, and they did their homework, and you hope it works out. With any draft, we won't know really what the true grade is until about 3 years from now. Terry Blount gave us a C, but all bets are off, or all grades are off really with this franchise, because we've done really well in drafts where initially our grades were, we ended up in the Kuiper crapper, and then in his hindsight drafts, we're graded to A's. So we'll see what happens.
Bob, your feelings on Clark when they drafted him?
Well, first off, I agree with some of the comments that were said earlier about it's tough to evaluate the draft right now. When the news first came out, I definitely took a step back and started really looking at it. And, you start looking at it going, okay, am I evaluating this as a Seahawk fan, or am I evaluating this as just a person that's really opposed to domestic violence? And it's tough because, the prosecuting attorney says what they say. And so I have to trust, Pete, that they didn't go outside of their standards and their morals, and we'll just see. But purely from an athletic standpoint, I think it was a great pick.
Yeah, I do. From a on the field standpoint, Matt, I know they drafted Irvin a couple years ago and said, here's our Leo. Here's this Leo position we heard about. I don't think Irvin ever bulked up enough. This guy's 270. He's 6'3", 270. To me, Matt, this might be finally this Leo guy we've heard for like 4 or 5 years that Clemens kind of was when he was here. They wanted Irvin to be, but I don't think Irvin ever bulked up enough. So they said, well, you know what? You just stay who you are. We'll move you at linebacker, and we'll find another Leo.
Someone else, absolutely.
At 270, this guy can stop the point of attack as well. He's a big kid. To me, it's another one of those. I think it's a low risk if you're playing on the best defense in the NFL and you don't work out. But it's a high reward if this kid winds up staying clean and doing what he does. Right, Matt?
Yeah, I do. I'm not in the position to judge any person for the actions they do, and I let other people do that. The thing is that more you look into it, and I was really pleased to hear John and Pete talk about how much effort they went to look at the background of the case, to try and talk to as many people as they could about it, to understand, a little, because there is always two sides to every story, and sometimes you only ever get, all of one and part of another. So I'm not in a position that clearly something happened. Clearly it wasn't right. Clearly he's said stuff about it. As far as I'm concerned, I always worry about the amount of extra hassle you need in the locker rooms, or this sort of how controversial do our players always have to be? A bit like Mark, why does it always have to be so controversial? And then you bookend that. This is, I suppose, is something to go on to the next part of the conversation. But I bookend that with, not part of the draft because he was a free agent, but looking at the Nate Boyer story. And the long snapper, you've got two bookends here. The first pick of the draft is a controversial. Have we breached our own morals from what we want to? Would we want to draft people like that, paired with a great story, a really heartwarming story of Nate Boyer at the other end. But both of them are coming to a perfect organisation if you think about it, because I think Clark has the ability. He's clearly a talented football player. He's clearly got some issues in his personal life, and he can be given guidance and support by people like Pete and people, in the locker room, the leaders in the locker room. And Nate obviously is coming to a place where he gets the chance to compete, because that's what we're all about. So we are the perfect organisation for these sorts of people. But as far as the positioning is concerned, absolutely, Irvin didn't produce that Leo point, and I think this Clark can.
Yeah, and I think you add to that. We'll close the book on the Clark discussion with this. In my opinion, I didn't worry about the draft because of who was drafting the players. And if there's one thing we learned from this organization, if Carroll and Schneider, if you don't fit it, if you don't get the program, you're gone. They don't care who you are, you're gone. So if this kid doesn't shape up, if he follows back to his old habits, he's not going to get this, you get a second or third chance. He's going to be on the sidewalk in 2 seconds. So with that in mind, I'm okay with the Clark pick because I know that this organization is not going to mess around. Look, you get your act together, son, or you're out of here. And I think that is why I feel okay with the Clark pick. Now, as we talk about favorites throughout the rest of the draft, I'd like to start and say, to me, when Ty Smith was drafted, I went and looked at some film of Ty Smith, and this kid hit like a ton of bricks. I don't know if you've seen any highlights, but this kid, he looked like a 31 out there, to be just quite frank, honest with you. He can nail people, and he does not miss a tackle. That one kind of stood out at me. Bob, who did you see on this list or on even the undrafted? Of course, we talked about Boyer a little bit from Texas, who, by the way, has never missed a long snap. So don't think this is a PR move. This guy is in here to challenge Gresham, and Gresham better come in and play pretty well in the preseason, I think. But Bob, who did you see that was maybe somebody you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, Smith was the one that jumped right, so I was kind of in line with you. But Boyer is very intriguing. I like the whole competition thing. But I'm also really intrigued with old Cam's stepbrother, or half brother, if you will. I mean, brothers from the same mother. That could be an intriguing thing. Unfortunately, they're both safeties, but man, that could be interesting.
Yeah, that could be. That definitely could be. Mark, who are you looking at on this list that we haven't talked about, or we have talked about that you can't wait to see in the uniform?
Well, the pick you mentioned, Smith, is interesting. I didn't realize until later that with let's see if I can do a Moses pronunciation of Christian what, Sicoli?
Sicoli,
yeah.
Well, it'd be cool if it were Spicoli. I'd enjoy
I was
that.
saying, wasn't he like, dude, I just studied Cuba, ate some food.
Spicoli.
Fast times at Albanian High.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, let me lace up some cleats and put a beak on me, brother. It's like, okay. So, but they're going to convert this guy, went from, being a defensive lineman to a center. Is that what's going on?
I thought that's what I heard too.
That's where they're starting him, yep.
And it's like, I guess our another favorite name of ours is our right now is our current starting center. Is it Jean Pierre?
I don't know. You have to ask Matt about that.
No, I think you'll have to ask Moses to do it in that particular accent. Lamont Jean Pierre.
Actually, I actually have audio of Christian getting drafted when they announced to Coley, "Hey, you're going to be on the Seahawks, dude." So he was excited.
Yeah, but I love how we've done this with first we take Jared Sweezy and convert him, but now it's not just simply alignment; it's like a center, and we'll see. I mean, these guys are beyond creative, but it was interesting not to draft a true center. And then I want to just add really quick that the Boyer thing was just awesome. Within minutes after the draft inning, he gets the call. They have him interviewed. I mean, what a great guy to have on the team, yes, provided he can actually play at this level. But there's not an easier person to root for than someone with his background, and that was just an awesome draft moment for the team.
And listen, the era before this had kept 2 kickers on the team for some weird reason, so I don't see why we couldn't keep a spot in practice squad for this long snapper, even if it doesn't work out. But his work ethic and, that kind of stuff that he would bring to the table as a practice squad guy, I think would be amazing.
I just wanted to add, I believe, instead of a war room, Tim Ruskell is now opening bars at 6 a.m. So he's lamenting those choices.
Will, who stands out to you we haven't talked about?
Well, first off, not so much the player. I think we've discussed that a little bit, but the move to go up and get Tyler Lockett.
Yes.
And I think that shows why comp picks are so valuable. I mean, we traded a 4th, 5th, and a 6th round pick to switch thirds to move up and draft Lockett because he never would have been on the board when we at our original pick. But even after trading all those picks, we still had 5 picks in the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds. And those were due almost entirely to the comp picks. And that's the one benefit, I think, of seeing guys leave, and we're going to continue to see guys leave, is we'll have more ammunition not only to draft replacements, but to trade up as necessary for players that we're targeting. So that was really fun to see. As far as players, one player I'm going to be interested in as far as development is Obum Gwacham. I mean, you don't see many wide receivers turn defensive ends at the NFL level. Yeah. And obviously, it's going to take this kid a while to figure it out. He may just be another Jamison Cons type, an athletic freak that really has no position. But, if he can develop into a good rush end, that guy could be fun to watch in a couple of years.
He could. Some people got their nose bent out of shape, Matt, about that. Oh my God, we give up all those picks to just move up.
Doesn't matter.
In the third round. Because how many of those picks are going to make the team anyway, Matt?
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. The comp picks, they knew exactly what they were doing, and they were clever enough to do it. I mean, for me, the only other story I want to say about this was is our first round pick, which is Jimmy Graham, and I put it on my Facebook. And at the end of the day, it was a pick that we used. We got a veteran player for it. Somebody came back to me and said, "Oh, you can't. You're stupid. You can't say that. It's not a draft. It's not a rookie." Yeah, of course he's not. But it's the value you get from your picks. That's the most important thing, is what you get out of them. But it didn't matter. That trade up. I have to say, even I was like, "Oh, okay. what do we want? That's what are we doing here? But yeah, totally, I get it. And the comp picks made up for it. Understood entirely why they did it. But again, that's why Schneider is the master of the boards.
Well, and the Lockett trade coming so quick after the Clark pick. I mean, we hadn't had time to digest them drafting Clark. That's like, oh hell, we're back on the clock.
We're back on the clock.
I know.
I know it was 6, and it was like it was that fast, and I was like, wow, we want something. We're needing something right now. But that's why John and Pete are master of that board. They know what they're doing.
Well, I felt that when Golden Tate left, the thing that was going to sting to me was losing his ability to return punts. And now, the B-Walt experience, I mean, we all talked about it here on this show. We laughed about it, but let's be honest, it was very pedestrian. And now we've got this kid that excels at this and loves to do it. And by the way, is an absolute, from what I hear, an absolute leader on and off the field, a high character kid, loves football, loves to be, in with it. I think he's going to be a great backup to Baldwin. Let's start there as a receiver. But the fact that he's going to return punts, something he loves to do, something he relishes, and that's going to be, to me, that's going to be pretty amazing. So
long as we're not putting Earl Thomas back there to do it, I don't care.
Oh my God.
Well, I love watching his highlights, because every time he gets the ball, he's just doing double moves. He's stopping and starting. Everybody's flying all over the place trying to keep up with him, and he's just making him look silly. He kind of reminds me of a young Darren Sproles. I mean, it's a guy that I always wanted who could do the same thing.
Is he going to be doing both returns and punts, you think? Is that possible?
Yes. Yeah, because he did them in college. He did both in college.
Okay.
Yeah, Carroll said flat out, he's our guy. Kick returns and punt return.
And of
course, kick returns, he's going to just be kneeling at half the time, but,
Yeah, I overall, I think it was a great draft. I think it was a great start to the season. The problem now, though, is that we have to wait. We've got these players, and we all got excited. We got our Seahawks stuff on, and now we've got this long wait. But don't worry, because we'll be back soon to have another wonderful, award-winning episode of 12th Man Fan Jam to get you through this. And unfortunately, though, it looks like it's time to bring this wonderful and amazing 12th Man Fan Jam show to a sad close. We're so glad you decided to waste some time with us for this off-season. It was, as usual, a show that raised the bar here at the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. We certainly hope you laughed a little. And maybe, just maybe, you learned a little something along the way. What did we learn this evening? Well, we learned not listening to Goodell is a good thing. We learned that Chip Kelly is an equal opportunity racist. We learned that if you're cheating, think of the children. The 49ers love punters. And yes, we learned how long it takes for a baby beaver to learn how to swim. So, on behalf of my partner in crime from Merry Old England, Matt, our newshound, Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, our special guest, Predatorhawk as the beaver, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity saying, enjoy the off-season and go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Go Hawks! These nuts!